Is there supposed to be a certain protocol for people to check in?
No, and I begin with me, and then he can speak, and they can speak for the other generation. But I'm never, you know what I mean? We don't have time for no sucker shit like that.
But what is the reason why you moved to Houston?
Well, look, first of all, like every time I've experienced Houston, like when I was out here, I ran into random acts of kindness. But the people have been good to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of the places that I'm like, man, or maybe Houston, like Houston or Miami popped into my head. Mm-hmm. They said 58%. I said, what? You my partner? The IRS is my partner now? I don't know. All you get is a Yankee hat? I'm going to Houston.
Looks like 50 Cent just shook things up big time with what he's revealing. This isn't your regular rap beef. He's making some serious claims that go way deeper than anyone first thought. At first, people thought it was just another ego clash. 50 Cent not wanting to check in when he came to Houston, and Jay Prince feeling disrespected. Same old street stuff, right? But now 50 is saying there was a real plan to take him out, and he's not being quiet about it. He's even naming names. It gets crazier. He's saying Supreme McGriff's own son might have been involved. And it gets even messier because Rick Ross might be tied in too. Word is, Ross has been getting close to some of 50's old enemies, just making things worse. Now that 50's putting all this behind-the-scenes stuff out in the open, Jay Prince, Supreme's legacy, shady connections, it's starting to make sense why he suddenly left Houston. Like, was there a whole setup going on behind the scenes? Let's break it all down.
For me to start a new relationship with Houston, I'm excited about it. The opportunity, I had a lot of fun things for the kids. I think that they're really going to get a chance to appreciate and enjoy it. And
it all started in Houston, Jay Prince's territory. He pretty much runs a city like it's his own. When artists come through, they're expected to check in. They say it's about respect. But to many people, it feels more like friendly pressure. And the crazy part? Even some of the ones who do check and still end up getting hurt. So the big question is, what's really going on here?
There's supposed to be a certain protocol for people to check in?
No, and I begin with me, and then he can speak, and they can speak for the other generation. But I'm never, you know what I mean? We don't have time for no sucker shit like that.
Then came 50 Cent. When he decided to move to Houston for good, Jay Prince expected him to follow the usual rules. But 50 wasn't having it. He straight up refused to check in and made it clear he didn't owe anyone anything. He's got his own money, his own team, and he's not playing by street rules he doesn't respect. To Jay Prince, that was a big insult. This wasn't just a quick visit. 50 fully moved there. He even tweeted, "I love New York, but I live in Houston now." At first, people thought he moved just to save money on taxes. And yeah, New York taxes are crazy, and 50 loves stacking his cash. But looking back, there was clearly more to the move than just money.
Today, we have the honor of saying to him, he's our 2022 Grand Marshal. Give it up to Curtis 50 Jackson.
50 Cent wasn't just trying to save on taxes. He had big plans. He was building a $20 million G-Unit film and TV studio, launching major alcohol brands, and even giving back to schools and the local community. He wasn't just moving, he was building an empire. Real boss moves. But here's where things got tricky. He was doing all of this right in Jay Prince's city. No check-in, no show of respect, no asking for permission from the so-called gatekeepers. He just showed up, set up shop, and kept it moving. A move like that was bound to upset some people. And soon the rumor started. People were saying 50 was getting pressure behind the scenes, that some doors weren't opening for him, that certain people were watching him, just waiting for him to mess up.
You know, I have the resilience to go against anybody. Like, there's nobody that's too up. Those are the guys that you would choose not to go against at that point. It's in the environment.
Word on the street was that some people were quietly plotting behind the scenes. But 50 didn't back down. He pushed even harder. To him, all this check-in stuff looked like a polite way of extorting people. And honestly, he might have a point. Just look at the past. Takeoff did check in and still lost his life. Jacob the jeweler got pressured. Even XXXTentacion stayed low-key and still got caught up. So from 50's point of view, why give up money and power for protection that doesn't really protect? He saw it for what it was: fake security, just smoke and mirrors. And after everything he's been through, fear isn't in his blood. But then out of nowhere, things changed. Quietly, without making a big deal, 50 pulled out of Houston. He scrapped the whole film studio plan and moved everything to Shreveport, Louisiana. No drama, no announcement, just a silent move that said a lot. People were left confused, like, wait, what just happened?
It's for you, man.
Sweet.
You the only one in Miami with that, bitch.
You know see what it is.
You know the vibes.
You see what it is.
Yeah.
Warming up, 2020.
This was the same city that had once given 50 Cent a key to the streets. So why leave all of a sudden? The answer came later, in just one line from an interview. Houston didn't embrace me the way I expected. That one sentence said a lot. Something had clearly gone wrong. The energy had changed, and 50 didn't feel safe anymore. What makes it even crazier is that while all this was happening, 50 was still being celebrated. He was the Grand Marshal of Houston's Thanksgiving Day parade. The mayor honored him. November 24th was officially named 50 Cent Day. The city was cheering him on. But not everyone was happy, especially Jay Prince. Behind the scenes, people said he was upset. From his point of view, 50 was doing too much in the city, too much attention, too much power, and still refusing to check in. At this point, it wasn't just about respect or clout. It was about control. And 5-0 was taking that control away. Then, just when things looked like they might calm down, boom, another name popped up: Supreme McGriff. If you know anything about 50's history, you know that name is no joke. And that's when things started to get way more serious.
This was the idea of my father, seeing that there was connections to Drake and Kanye, and that they were such iconic figures, and with them going through things.
Back in the early 2000s, 50 Cent survived something that would have ended most people. He got shot 9 times. A lot of folks still believe Supreme McGriff's crew had something to do with it. Why? Because before that, 50 dropped a song called Ghetto Chiran, where he called out real street legends from Queens, including Supreme. To the music industry, it was just another raw rap track. But to the streets, that was seen as snitching. Supreme didn't take that lightly. Not long after, 50 got shot. But he didn't die, and he didn't hide either. He used that moment to fuel his rise, turning pain into power. That shooting became part of the story, helping launch his career. Meanwhile, Supreme's story went another way. He ended up in prison for life. But he never folded, never snitched. That silence earned him major respect, both in prison and on the streets. All the while, 50 kept using that story to grow, talking about it in interviews, songs, even movies. He made money off of it. And Supreme never forgot that. That kind of betrayal runs deep. Now, enter Irv Gotti, another key figure. He wasn't just cool with Supreme. They were like brothers. Irv even helped fund Supreme's legal defense. Real loyalty. And Supreme respected that. But 50? He went after all of them. He didn't just take out Ja Rule. He crushed the whole Murder Incorporated label. And even when Irv Gotti passed away from a stroke, 50 still trolled him. He posted a pic of himself smoking hookah next to a fake gravestone with the caption, "I'm smoking on that Gotti pack. Nay, God bless him. LOL." The day before when Irv first had the stroke, 50 joked, "Damn, I wanted him to see my new shows." That didn't sit right with Supreme's son, McGriff Jr. He clapped back on Instagram, saying, "If I said I was smoking on your mother or grandfather, y'all would call me wrong, right?" He called 50 a clown and doubled down on it. To McGriff Jr., disrespecting Irv was like disrespecting his father. That took things to a whole new level. And right around that time, 50 started posting strange, cryptic stuff online, snake emojis, vague captions, warning signs. He didn't name names, but the tension was obvious. People knew something was up. Then it really exploded. 50 allegedly leaked info that suggested Jay Prince's crew and Supreme's son were secretly talking, possibly plotting against him. Whether it was just to pressure him, push him out, or something darker, 50 didn't stay quiet. He wanted everyone to know. Instead of backing down, he went into full troll mode, calling people out and daring them to do something. And right when things couldn't get any crazier, Rick Ross popped up. 50 and Ross have been beefing for over 10 years. Lawsuits, insults, jabs at each other's families. No love lost. But recently, Ross was spotted hanging out with people tied to Supreme's camp. At first it looked random, but to 50, that wasn't random. That was a message. To him, it looked like Ross was siding with the very people who once tried to take his life. That's not just drama. That's dangerous. Word is, that meetup wasn't just for photos. Insiders say it might have been part of a bigger plan. McGriff Jr. isn't staying quiet anymore, especially after 50 kept clowning, or even after his death. And now, with J. Prince getting back involved, the stakes just went way up. See, it's not just about 50 refusing to check in anymore. Word is, J. Prince wants to make an example out of 50. Because if 50 can break the rules and still move around freely, that sends a message to other rappers that this whole check-in system might be falling apart. And if anyone could shake that system, it's 50. But he better watch his back. Because when you dig into J. Prince's past, things get real serious. He's not just a music mogul. His name's been in federal files since the late 80s. Allegedly, he had deep ties to the streets, moving serious weight from Mexico into Texas, Louisiana, even Chicago. That's not local hustle. That's international business. And J. Prince was right in the middle. Around the same time, he reportedly linked with Larry Hoover, the founder of the Gangsta Disciples. That connection changed everything. Suddenly, there was a pipeline running from Houston to the Midwest, and J. Prince was calling the shots. Then, out of nowhere, Rap-A-Lot Records popped up. On the surface, it was a record label helping Houston's rap scene. But on the streets, people whispered that it was more than just music. They believed it was a front, a way to clean up dirty money. The feds weren't sleeping. By 1988, the DA was all over Rap-A-Lot. They were tapping phones, flipping drivers, building a serious case. It looked solid until it vanished. No charges, no headlines, just silence. That doesn't just happen by chance. That takes power, real influence behind the curtain. Fast forward to now, and 50 might be stepping on toes that have been dangerous for decades. So here's the big question. Is 50 just being paranoid? Or is he seeing something before it goes down? Is this a real setup? Or just one of the wildest ego battles in hip-hop playing out in front of us? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear what you think. And if this crazy story keeps unfolding, and trust us, it will, we'll be right here breaking it all down. So don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell, and share this with someone who needs a tea. This story is far from over. See you in the next one.